call on you, although she seems very eager, so go ahead. All right, we're going to start right around here.
I'm from Fairfield, Connecticut.
Hey, hey, how did this Connecticut person sneak in here?
That's right.
All right, go ahead. I love people in Connecticut. Go ahead.
Thank you. Due to the great health care in this country, I'm a 3-time cancer survivor.
We're proud of you.
But like many cancer patients, was pushed out of a job. I was lucky enough to be able to retire early, buy into the retiree's health plan, and then start my own successful business. However, this is not the case for most people with chronic illnesses. Health care for cancer survivors is more expensive. How are the jobs bill and the proposed health care legislation going to account for the level of variability of the needs of cancer survivors?
Well, look, first of all, we're proud of you. You look great. Say you agree, huh? You should, you know.
Health-wise, I'm great.
Oh, no, you look good too. Go ahead.
Thank you.
There are a couple of aspects of this. First of all, I think we shouldn't lose sight of the enormous potential in the new branches of medicine to go after cancer. I was over at NIH, National Institute for Health. We've increased funding drastically. This is an area that should be one of our competitive advantages, right? We have the best scientists in the world. We've got the best universities in the world. We have traditionally led in innovation, and the more money we're putting in, you know, they're starting to come up with drugs that only kill the cancer cells and don't kill healthy cells, or that can be tailored to a particular kind of cancer that's matched up because of new genetic information. So there's enormous potential here to go after cures, and that involves the kind of research and investment that we've made. In our health care bill, one of the most important components was the idea, the basic principle, that nobody should have to go without health insurance because of a pre-existing condition. Nobody should have to go without health insurance because of a pre-existing condition. Now, this is something that's very popular if you just say it in isolation, but when you start explaining what is required to make that happen, then sometimes some people get a little nervous. You can't have insurance companies have to take somebody who's sick, who's got a pre-existing condition, if you don't have everybody covered, or at least almost everybody covered. And the reason, if you think about it, is simple. If you had a situation where not everybody was covered, but an insurance company had to take you because you were sick, what everybody would do is they just wait till they got sick, and then they'd go buy an insurance, right? And so the potential would be there to game the system. The reason I point that out is because a lot of the reforms that we've proposed fit together. So we want insurance reforms that make sure that a cancer survivor can still get health insurance. But to do that, we want to make sure that everybody has health insurance, which in turn allows us to cut back on some wasteful spending and help upgrade hospitals and doctors and how they perform medicine, because now they're not dealing with as many emergency room patients. So the cost control aspects of it, the coverage aspects of it, and the insurance reform aspects of it all fit together. Here's the problem, though, is when you've got all those things fitting together, it ends up being a big, complicated bill, and it's very easy to scare the daylights out of people. And that's basically what happened during the course of this year's debate. But here's the good news. We're essentially on the 5-yard line for those who like football analogies. We've had to go into overtime, but we are now in the red zone. That's exactly right. We're in the red zone. We've got to punch it through. What I have said is that both the House bill and the Senate bill were 90% there. 10% of each bill people had some problems with, and legitimately so. So we were just about to clean those up, and then Massachusetts election happened. Suddenly everybody says, oh, no, it's over. Well, no, it's not over. We just have to make sure that we move methodically and that the American people understand exactly what's in the bill. And what I've done is I've said to the Republicans, show me what you've got. You've been sitting on the sidelines criticizing what we're proposing. I'm happy to defend insurance reforms. I'm happy to defend the fact that we need to provide 30 million people with access to coverage. I'm happy to defend the need to provide small businesses an ability to pool so that they can have the same purchasing power that the big companies have and drive down their premiums and drive down their rates for their employees. I'm happy to have these debates. I just want to see what else you got. And if you've got a good idea, great. You know, I at the Republican caucus, they said, we've got a plan. It's going to provide everybody coverage at no cost. And I said, well, if that were true, why wouldn't I take it? My wife, Michelle, thinks I'm stubborn sometimes, but I'm not that stubborn. Say, okay, let me think. I could have everybody get health care coverage that's high quality, and it's free, which I'll bet's really popular. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go through the pain of really working through this hard process in Congress, getting yelled at and called a socialist. Because, you know, that's how I roll. I'm a glutton for punishment. No. Look, if this were easy and simple, first of all, somebody would have done it before. 7 presidents have failed at this. 7 Congresses have failed at this. If this was simple, it would have already been done. It's not. This is 1/6 of our economy. It's extremely complex. But I want everybody to understand here, the health care proposal we put forward is basically the same shape as the proposal that was put forward by Tom Daschle, former Senate Democratic Majority Leader, Bob Dole, and Howard Baker, 2 Republican Senate leaders. So it can't be that radical. It's a very straightforward principle that says we're going to set up an exchange, a pool, where people who don't have health insurance and small businesses who can't afford it right now can buy into the pool. If even after we've driven premiums down because of increased competition and choice, you still can't afford it, we're going to give you a subsidy, depending on your income. We're going to ask that everybody get health insurance, but if you still can't afford it, we'll exempt you. We'll give you a hardship exemption, because there's some folks that, you know, it's just too tough. We are going to insist that the insurance companies all abide by certain practices, like making sure that you take people with pre-existing conditions, that you don't drop people just because they get sick. We then say that we have to control the costs of medicine, so we're going to set up a panel of experts, doctors, and healthcare economists who are going to scrutinize how we reimburse things like Medicare to make sure that doctors are encouraged to work as teams. Don't order 5 tests if you could just do 1 test and then email it to 5 different doctors. Pretty straightforward. Now, what I just described is the essence of what we're doing. And according to the Congressional Budget Office, it would save $1 trillion in our deficits, which is the single most important thing we can do, by the way, to reduce our deficit over the long term. Almost all the growth in deficit has nothing to do with My Recovery Act and has everything to do with the growing costs of Medicare and Medicaid. Almost all of it. You project out 20, 30 years, almost all the growth is because healthcare costs are just